We are joined now by Donald Trump's campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski. Mr. Lewandowski, when Donald Trump says the Republican Party has to get it together, what does that mean?
Well, I think what it means is everyone needs to come and understand that we have one central plan, which is defeat Hillary Clinton come November. And it's a binary decision now, and Republicans have to decide, are they all going to fall in line and understand that the choice is very clear? You can support Donald Trump for president, or you can support Hillary Clinton for president. She wants to raise taxes by $1.2 billion, add $800 billion into the federal deficit moving forward, where Donald Trump wants to cut taxes. I think Republicans understand there's a clear choice here. And we saw that Governor Pence over the weekend came out and endorsed Donald Trump. There are many, many people already supporting Donald Trump. So we're happy with the unification process, which has taken place already.
You have Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader for the Republicans, and House Speaker Paul Ryan asking Donald Trump to change. What's he going to do?
No, I don't think they're asking for him to change. What they want is to understand what the policies are that Donald Trump wants to put forward. And we've talked about this many times with the leaders in Congress. His policies are to cut taxes, give tax cuts to the working class, the middle class, reduce our national deficit, renegotiate our trade deals. There is no change in what we're looking to do there. You know, these are things that everybody agrees with. And Senator McConnell and Speaker Ryan all agree that that's the right path forward for our country.
But they are asking for a change in temperament, behavior, tone, not just those I mentioned, but a number of other Republicans are saying he's got kind of one last shot to change course here in his behavior. So it sounds like what you're saying is no change to Donald Trump.
No, what I'm saying is that you need toughness. Sometimes you need to fight for our country. You need to fight for the American people. That's what Donald Trump does. Just as he has done for his business for the last 40 years, making sure that his employees have the best and that he's gotten the best deals, he'll do that for our country. I don't think anybody wants him to change. I think they want to see someone who's tough and strong and fights for our country, and that's what Mitch McConnell wants. That's what the American people want, and I think that's what Paul Ryan wants.
With respect to his comments this week about Judge Curiel overseeing the Trump University lawsuit, does he think there's anything to apologize for in his remarks about the judge?
Well, there's nothing to apologize for. What you have is, if you go to the website, 98percentapproval.com, you'll see that 98% of the people who took his courses gave it the highest marks possible. And the courses were designed by Ivy League professors who put these in place, and people are exceptionally happy with this. Particularly, the lead plaintiff in the case who filed this case gave it the highest glowing remarks possible. She did a video testimonial in this case, and when the plaintiff's attorneys found out that she had done that, she removed herself from the case. This case should have been dismissed on summary judgment a long time ago, and we question the impartiality of the judge based on all of those factors. That's all we're talking about in this case. This is ultimately going to be settled in a court of law. It shouldn't be tried in the court of public opinion.
Dr. Ben Carson says that Mr. Trump has admitted privately that his comments about the judge's Hispanic heritage being a barrier to him judging fairly were a mistake. Is that true?
Well, look, I wasn't privy to the conversation he had with Dr. Carson, but I can tell you this. Our concern with this judge is his impartial nature, the fact that he should have ruled on summary judgment to dismiss this case. When the lead plaintiff comes out and says that this was a great institution that she was very proud of, both in a video testimonial and on written evaluations, it should have been dismissed already. And again, this is something that the media wants to talk about. What we're not talking about is Hillary Clinton's emails. What the disaster is that now the White House is saying that there's a criminal investigation going on with Hillary Clinton. That's a much bigger story than a potential civil case, which is going to be litigated in the court of law.
All right, Corey Lewandowski, that's all we have time for. Please stay with us. We're going to take a short break, and we've got a lot more questions for you coming up. Welcome back to Face the Nation. We continue with Corey Lewandowski, Donald Trump's campaign manager. I want to just finish up here on the judge, because you mentioned this is something the voters don't care about, but Paul Ryan, who's the Speaker of the House, has brought it up. And so you mentioned that the judge in this case, it's just about his impartiality that Mr. Trump questions, but is it the fact that he's of Hispanic heritage that gets in the way of his impartiality? That's what people are, I think, still curious about.
No, what we've said is that this is a liberal judge appointed by a liberal president who's a member of a number of organizations that represent liberal values. And we want to make sure that, Mr. Trump is given the opportunity to have an impartial hearing and an impartial decision based on, that judge and the opportunity that every person in this country should have the right to a fair trial. And we want to make sure that that right is granted. And if you look at the facts of this case, the fact that the lead plaintiff was dismissed, that 98% of the people who participated in Trump University filled out evaluations or testimonials saying it was a fantastic course, this case should have been dismissed a long time ago on summary judgment, and hasn't been, and that's what we're questioning.
Hillary Clinton has her first ad out of the general election in which she mentions that she charges that Mr. Trump made fun of a disabled reporter, Serge Kovaleski. Mark Kirk, senator from Illinois, who unendorsed Mr. Trump this week, cited among his reasons for doing so that he makes fun of people who are disabled, like the senator who has suffered from a stroke. What's the candidate's reaction? What's your reaction to those charges?
Well, let me say first and foremost, I've had the privilege of serving with Mr. Trump for the last 18 months, 15 or 18 hours a day, and I'm appalled by this accusation. I know Mr. Trump very, very well, and never would he make such an accusation, and whatever Hillary Clinton says about this is completely unfounded. Moreover, if you look at the buildings that Mr. Trump has, he's gone out of his way to ensure ADA compliance at every chance. And this is a reporter who was a reporter in the mid-'80s that says he covered Mr. Trump. If you look today, there is a massive press corps that covers Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump didn't know this reporter, didn't know anything to do with him. And that's the case today. So, these are gross accusations that are completely unfounded. I know Mr. Trump. This is just not true. And I'm afraid that Hillary Clinton is trying to say something once again to distract from her own failed candidacy and her disaster of what she's done in Libya and the failures that she's had as Secretary of State.
Senator Mark Kirk, as a Republican, brought this up. I think the foundation would be that Mr. Trump did a perfect imitation of a very idiosyncratic disability in his speech. I think that's what has people wondering.
Again, this is a reporter from the mid-'80s that Mr. Trump probably has never met. And if he met, maybe he met him 30 years ago. I'm with Mr. Trump on a regular basis. The reporters who cover him, many of them, he doesn't know who they are. So to think that this was an assault on a reporter who he has potentially never met is egregious. I know this man. He would never do such a thing.
All right. Corey Lewandowski, thank you so much for being with us.